Man, there's just something that I love about... Did you guys hear that? Anyway, there's just something that I love about classic... Oh my god, it's him. What's going on, everyone? I'm Jay, my channel Square Pegs. Today we are ranking every Yoshi game, I think. There's always that disclaimer because I almost always miss something. But we're going to try and rank every single Yoshi game that has been released. Let's get over to the systems and take a look. Alright, so let's talk about Yoshi games. And up first, we are talking about an NES game, and that is Yoshi, shockingly enough. Yoshi is a puzzle game that, I remember when I first played this when I was younger, this game really confused me because I didn't know exactly what I was supposed to do. And it wasn't until I was watching a stream, literally 2 weeks ago, that EC Meyervids did, where he was playing Yoshi in his NES Alphanumeric series, where I realized that you're supposed to make eggs out of the enemies, and that's kind of when a light bulb went off, and I've played it since, and I actually find this game really enjoyable now that I know what the hell to do. This is one of the problems of renting games and not getting an instruction manual with them when you're a kid. It's a pretty straightforward game. It's not a terribly difficult game. It's just kind of there. It's fun. I am going to give Yoshi for the NES a B. Now, Yoshi's Cookie on the NES is also a puzzle game, and I don't really like this one. I don't actually think this game is terribly fun. Just kind of sliding the cookies around to match them and get them to clear out is... I mean, it's fine, it works. It's not a terribly good time. I can't really suggest this one. This isn't something that I think I'll ever pick up and play again just because I didn't think it was very good. So Yoshi's Cookie on the NES gets... I don't want to give it a... It's not an F because, I mean, what it does well. It's not a complete failure. It's just not terribly fun. So I'm going to give it a D. And that's what goes for Yoshi's Cookie on the SNES as well. It's fine, it does what it does, but it's just a prettier version of Yoshi's Cookie on the NES, so I won't give it a D, I'll give it a C, but just not a terribly fun game and not something I think I'll ever play again. Alright, Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island. I know a lot of people are immediately going to say, this is an S, it's one of the best games ever made, and I will be honest with you, when I was younger, I hated this game. I didn't enjoy it at all. Screaming Mario whenever he drops off your back just drove me nuts. And I can't say that that's really changed now that I'm older. But, and this is key here, I am having a lot of fun playing it. It is a really intelligently designed platforming game. It is one of the better platformers I've played on the SNES. I cannot give it an S just because the Mario screaming it drives me batty. And I don't want to turn the sound down because the music in the game is phenomenal, but the screaming Mario when he gets knocked off your back is just such an annoying sound effect. And I know it's supposed to be annoying because you want to rush to get him, but I don't rush because I want him to be safe. I rush because I want him to shut up. I would love to give this one an S, and it's super close to an S. I'm gonna give it an A+, where it's just docked because of that screaming Mario. I can't do it. Okay, Yoshi's Safari on the SNES, I can't rank, unfortunately. This gets a great big question mark because I don't have a Super Scope 7. I wasn't able to get into game on it. So, unfortunately, we're just going to say this is a question mark, and we're just going to hope for the best and wish it well in its future endeavors. Tetris Attack for the Super Nintendo, it's paneled upon, and I didn't really clue into the fact that we really straight up ripped this off for Henry Hatsworth and the Puzzling Adventure, but hey, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, right? Because this game's just really good. This is such a fun puzzle game. Paneled Upon is just awesome. It is essentially a match 3 where you just slide stuff around to get stuff to clear out before the screen fills up. And the way we implemented that on Hatsworth is much the same as you do in every other Paneled Upon game. You match up your stuff, they disappear, you keep on going until you reach your score limit. This is implemented really well. This is called Tetris Attack. I don't know why. Why they didn't just call this Yoshi's Panels or something I don't know. But Yoshi's the starring character in it, he features in the background, and it's not really a Yoshi game, I guess, in the grand scheme of things, but it is fun. I'm gonna give Tetris Attack an A. Alright, we're about halfway through the rankings. I'm doing a couple of these ranking videos a month, so if you're enjoying this, why don't you hit that subscribe button and we'll take a look and see where things currently stand. Next up is Yoshi's Story for the N64, and oh man, okay, so this is the first Yoshi game that tried to do some new stuff. It tried to do something a little bit different than what we had seen in Yoshi's Island, and I think it didn't quite get where it needs to go. Like, I don't particularly like the egg throwing mechanic in this one. The controls are really flighty, like Yoshi flies all over the screen. Now, I have only played this on the Switch, so I can't say if that's different using an N64 controller, but using the Switch Pro controller, he's really jumpy, he's really twitchy. I think the game looks beautiful, and despite that god-awful song at the start of the game, it actually sounds really good. I think there's a lot of promise here. I just think that some of the attention to detail that really made Yoshi's Island sing is lost in translation on this one. Just because it tried to do too much and didn't quite get there. I'm going to give Yoshi's Story on the N64 a B. It's still a very good platformer, but it doesn't feel quite to the level of satisfaction that I'm used to with other straight Yoshi platformers on the list. Yoshi's Topsy-Turvy on the Game Boy Advance. Unfortunately, I can't get good footage of this game to show it to you, but this is when Nintendo's at its best. So this is a game that has an accelerometer in the package. There was a couple of games like that. I think there was a Kirby game that had an accelerometer in the cart to make you actually tilt the GBA when you played. And I just can't get good footage of it, and the emulator doesn't emulate it well enough to show you what's going on. So unfortunately, it's just going to kind of look like Yoshi's standing there and wondering what's going on. But this is kind of when Nintendo's at their best, is when they get a wackadoo idea and make it work. And this is a wackadoo idea that's actually pretty fun. It's not perfect. It's definitely something that's a little bit too far out there, I think, for a lot of people, and probably for me as well. I do think it's good, but I don't think it's perfect. I'm going to give Yoshi Topsy-Turvy a B, edging towards a B+. I think there's more to like here than there is to hate, but it doesn't quite stick the landing, I don't think. All right, Yoshi Touch and Go on the DS. All right, man, this game to me just feels like someone at Nintendo had an idea of what the DS is supposed to be, said, damn the torpedoes, we're tossing everything into it, and we're going to make a touchscreen game that everyone's going to love. And unfortunately, it just doesn't work. It's okay. Like, obviously, I've played the regular version on the DS, and you're seeing it here on the emulator as well, and it's just not, it's not terribly fun. The break in the screen, both in the emulator and on the DS, makes it kind of hard to navigate where you're supposed to move stuff and play stuff to actually, like in this first game, make when Baby Mario is dropping. And then it's just, I don't know, it doesn't really work for me. Like, I didn't like games like this. There was a Kirby game that did the same thing where you had to, I think it was Canvas Curse. Kirby's Canvas Curse did the same thing where you actually had to draw lines to make Kirby move, and that was implemented a lot better. This one is just kind of, it's middling. This one, to me, this is a C. I could actually probably be talked into giving it a D, but I think it actually looks really good, and the stuff it does well. It's just not very fun to play. All right, Yoshi's Island DS. Now, this is a DS version of Yoshi's Island from the Super Nintendo. It's basically the same game. It's just cleaned up visually, and there's some more different characters in it that you're actually able to carry around, like Baby Peach is in there and stuff like that. And, everything that Yoshi's Island did well on the Super Nintendo, it does well here on the DS. This is essentially the same game. It's really good. Don't get me wrong, I really like it. I love the implementation of the top screen, so you can actually see more of the level as you're playing. I think that's very creative, and I think it works really well. Unfortunately, the stuff that drops the Super Nintendo game drops this one too. The screaming, wailing Mario is just not fun to listen to because it just overlaps amazing music, and that's really annoying. I can't give it an S, even though I think from a gameplay perspective, it's there. That audio is just really irritating and drops it down for me. I'm going to give it an A because it's a great game, but it could have been an S. Now, Yoshi's New Island on the 3DS is interesting because we have our first kind of next-gen Yoshi game here. This is our first real, I don't know, like, this one just feels really creative to me. So it's just a new take on Yoshi's Island. It's right there in the title. It's Yoshi's New Island. And it plays almost identical to the Super Nintendo version and the DS version that came before, but there's enough changes here that really made me sit up and take notice. The music is still great, the gameplay is still fantastic, the level designs are wonderful, and there's some real solid challenge in this game. Like, I think one of the things the Yoshi games kind of misses the mark on sometimes is that they're pretty easy, but this one actually has a really good challenge to it, and I think it's a lot of fun. Now, we still do have Screaming Mario, but for some reason, he's not as like piercing in this one. So it's not something that really bothered me nearly as much. I think this is going to be our first S here. I think this game is about as perfect as you're going to get a Yoshi game. Until we look at the next two. Now, Yoshi's Woolly World on the Wii U is, simply put, one of the most visually stunning games that Nintendo has ever made. The attention to detail for all the yarn creatures and the yarn implementation throughout the world is gorgeous. Everything looks like it's a toy come to life, and that is something that I don't think can be overlooked, because the aesthetic that Nintendo is going for visually in this game is spectacular. They eliminated completely Baby Mario from the equation. This is just a Yoshi game. This is what the games are supposed to be in my eyes. It is a beautiful looking, spectacularly playing, and truly fun game that I was so pleased to pick up and enjoy, because I didn't expect to like it nearly as much as I do. Yoshi's Woolly World, by far, is an S. Now we get to Yoshi's Crafted World, and I think the most negative thing I can say about Yoshi's Crafted World is that it's really easy. It is definitely not a challenging title like we've seen on other Yoshi games or some of the other Mario family games. It's something to me that it's very much made for kids, but there's enough here that I think an adult can enjoy it as well. Now, I alluded earlier to the fact that I think this is probably as close to perfect as you're going to get, one of the perfect games, and I do stand by that. I do think this, like, spoilers, I'll rank it finally at the end. I do think this is an S game, but I think it's an S game for a certain subset of people. Like, for me personally, I might actually put this at an A, but I know that when I saw my wife play this, and I saw my son play this, and how much they got into it, it was really kind of motivating and inspiring to me, because I think it's a really phenomenal game. It has unbelievable visuals. Like, everything that Yoshi's Woolly World did well, this game pluses and takes to the next level. It sounds amazing. The different things that you're able to unlock and use as different costumes for Yoshi are just so adorable and so much fun to play with and so much fun to see in the game. Like, there's something to be said for a game that's just purely fun and just hits every major note creatively. And I think Yoshi's Crafted World gets there for the Switch. Yoshi's Crafted World is an S. All right, guys, there you have it. My rankings of every single Yoshi game. Now, straight up, there's a reason behind this. Now, I am not a huge Yoshi fan, or at least I wasn't before I did this ranking. And Gary from Rock Solid Productions has been putting Yoshi music, specifically the music from Yoshi's Story on the N64, into most of his videos because the singing Yoshis just drive me insane. And I really needed to kind of exorcise the Yoshi demons from my life by doing this ranking, and I initially wanted to go through and just kind of show how bad the Yoshi games were and how not fun they were for people to play, and I'll be damned if I was wrong. I really enjoyed almost everything I played. Now, there's a few things that just didn't click for me, and that's probably just who I am as a gamer, and obviously I couldn't rank Yoshi's Safari because I don't have a Super Scope, but I think for the most part, these are really solid games, and they're a ton of fun to play. Let me know in the comments down below what your favorite Yoshi game is, and if there's a particular character you would like me to rank next, I'll be happy to take a look at the games that they have in their series and give them a ranking and let you know what I think about them. Please hit like, please subscribe down below, and if you really dig the work I do, consider becoming a monthly Patreon sponsor or a channel member here on YouTube. Channel members and patrons get ad-free early access to videos as well as behind-the-scenes stuff for a donation of as little as $1 a month. And if you want to continue supporting the channel in a more direct way, pick up some of my merchandise at squarepegsyt.com. I would love to see some folks out there wearing some Square Pegs merch at conventions as we are getting back into convention season. Until next time, folks, I've been Jay. Appreciate you spending a little bit of time with me. Check out these ranking videos up here that I have done in the past. And remember to play more games, stay square, and take care. I'll talk to you soon.